Jamie, thank you for taking time to chat with us. We're here to talk about Jackdaw, a film which I caught out of Fantastic Fest and thought was just incredible. It's such a great film. How did the idea come together for this one?
So it was a combination of some sort of idea that I'd had for a long time, and I don't know where that came from. It was just for some reason I always liked this idea of. I tell you what it was actually. No, I do know where the title Jackdaw came from. My dad used to, when I was a kid, he had like this jackdaw that he like found that was injured, and he like used to. My dad's like kind of a bit of a. I've not had a massively close relationship with my dad growing up, so it was one of those. I found him always like this kind of like mysterious character that I'd go and visit up north every now and again. And but like had this kind of like tough exterior. But like one day I found out he was nurturing a jackdaw like back to health that had been like injured by some kids. And I was always like sort of got a bit fascinated about jackdaws and like kind of this little relationship that he had with the bird. And then I was always like, that's a cool name for a movie. Like, what if there was a character who was kind of like the jackdaw? Had absolutely no idea what he was or what he would be doing. But I suppose in some ways he's kind of a little bit based off, not off my dad, but off that kind of like type of like sort of, I don't know, sort of tough exterior masculine northeast thing, which actually is like big softy, like deep down. Um, so that's where it sort of came from. But the actual plot of this film came from me basically sitting in my window in my house in the northeast, and sort of literally I live in a big bay by the North Sea Bay near Redcar, Hartlepool, and I just literally was looking out the window and going like, oh, what if he started there and then he sort of went to there and went to there, and I could see pretty much every little bit of his journey around the coastline, even stuff like when he gets away from the jet skis, and I knew he was in a kayak, and I was like, how does he get away from jet skis now? And I seen a like little fishing boat dropping lobster pots out the back, and I was kind of like, oh, maybe stores away on the fishing boat. So it was like genuinely coming to me over the few days that I was writing it, based on, and I had little set piece ideas I wanted to do just over the years, like thinking of cool stuff that he could be doing, and kind of tried to shoehorn those in. Some got chucked away, some made it into the movie. So yeah, it was quite an organic process, really, in that sense.
Yeah, and I think that the location really is sort of key. It's like its own extra character. I mean, England itself isn't often seen outside of, I don't know, like a period drama or London. Why was it important for you to shoot the film where you did?
Well, I mean, a couple of reasons really. I mean, one, it's where I'm from, so all of those places you see are like the reason I could pull this film together so quickly was because one, I knew exactly where I would shoot the sequences, so I kind of wrote them for those places. I was like, where can I get maximum production value without needing to build anything or do anything? And I knew like, oh, if I shoot down by that factory down there, there's this like cool road that we could probably close off and do a bit of a chase sequence on, and the council up here was super helpful with that as well, because they were like really keen to, they were excited that I was coming back to the northeast to make something here, so they were just like, any roads you want shut down, we'll do it like tomorrow, which was great, because normally it's like 6 weeks waiting from like highways and stuff like that, and they were just, yeah, whatever you want to shut down the main road through Middlesbrough, no problem. Like, so that was really important in getting the film actually made. But it's like someone called it earlier to me a love letter to the Northeast, and I'm like, yeah, I suppose it is that. And I never felt like I'd end up making my first feature up here, or if I did, it would be way more of a sort of kind of naturalistic drama or something. And then all these things started coming about, and the Northeast Film Council wanted to help, and they were going to give us some money towards it, and they did. And I was like, well, actually, why don't we make something a bit genre up here and show that we can make those kind of films in England and in the Northeast, and hopefully that will inspire people to come here and shoot. And that's a big push for the Northeast Film Council at the moment. They're like, how do we attract people to make films here, especially like Hollywood? And I'm like, well, hopefully this film will help show that you can. And those worlds become a bit almost like agnostic, like they could be anywhere as well, even though they do belong to the Northeast.
Yeah, I mean, there's some stunning locations. The cinematography in this film is ridiculous. There's literally there are legitimately stills in this film that I would hang on the wall. There's the beautiful like um
Tell us your favorite one and we'll get it sent to you.
I mean the dusk, the one after he's sort of he's escaped, and there's like the lamppost light is illuminating the dead grass, and then you've got like the inky blue sky, and then there's like the pylons and the
That's one
industry
of
and
my
stuff in the
favorite. That's one of my
background.
favorite images in the whole thing,
Um,
actually.
because I feel that's kind of something that you know that the visual style of this film is doing. It's juxtaposing, you know, this rural countryside with the industrial. Because I guess that a lot of people's perception of England, you know, Americans especially, is that it's all twee countryside. So was it important that you did sort of get into these sort of more urban areas and show a different side?
Yeah, totally. I mean, you know, those industrial landscapes. I mean, you know, to get a little bit more pretentious about it, like for me, it was actually like exactly what you just said. There's this sort of balance of pastoral England, which up in the northeast is these beautiful, you know, parts of the countryside, but are also like quite brutal as well. But then also then bring in like the industry that exists up here. And for me, it was like there's almost like with Jack's sort of struggle between like his feminine and masculine side as a character, like his father and his mother. Like, does he lean into violence to solve problems, or does he lean into like, you know, apathy or empathy towards like, you know, how he gets out of these situations? And almost the landscape resonated with that, like he, you know what I mean? And that's why I finished on the beach with his like brother and stuff at the end, with like the grass blowing and stuff. But you also still have the factory in the background and the wind turbines. And it was it that was like a, you know, I suppose in some ways maybe more subconscious, but like a part of the storytelling. Like where you look where he is in certain parts of the story reflect like what he's going through at that point in
Yeah.
time. Is it more masculine? Is it more what would be classed as feminine in this? You know what I mean? So that in itself actually was part of the storytelling. Plus, it just looks really cool. So that's also a big part of it.
I mean, I'm from Nottingham originally, so it was sort of like, you know, it's similar, it's a similar sort of like landscape there as well. So it was kind of nice, you know, to sort of see a bit of home represented in a strange sort of way.
Yeah, totally. Well, Nottingham's a big inspiration. Well, funny enough, we were just talking about that being silly, but we'll get into that in a minute because we're running out of time.
And obviously, you get a stunning performance out of Oliver Jackson-Cohen. What do you think it was about him that made him right for Jackdaw? You know, what did he bring to this role? Because also, like, his face is obscured for a chunk of time in this film.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's exactly what it was with Ollie for me. It was like I knew, you know, there's quite a few qualities to him which made me just kind of, and I had to, and you know, it wasn't naturally what people would think for the character, and a lot of people I had to convince, not because they didn't think he was good or anything like that. They just they weren't necessarily aware of him, and I think, you know, with these kind of films, like there's a certain bunch of actors, male actors, that you might just naturally go to. So obviously finances instantly want to go to those. Um, but I was actually with Ollie when I was writing the film. And I was kind of just looking at him chatting, and he's such a lovely person in real life. He's like real sensitive guy, and like he, you know, and so but he has like these physical attributes which are great for that character, and especially like lean into more kind of Hollywoody version of that character. So he's, you know, he's glamorous, he's statuesque, he's good looking, but he's definitely got like a tough looking side to him, but he's like the most gentle, sensitive person in real life, and a great actor. So like I felt like, oh my god, he's like ticking all the right boxes here. And you know, he's got these amazing blue eyes as well, which like through the film we made sure like when he was in the helmet we were always lit properly. You know what I mean? It wasn't like he ever like felt, if you didn't like Jackdaw correctly, like it could just be a bloke walking around a helmet who you don't really get to see very
Yeah.
much. And for me, it was always like every time he needed to, his eyes were lit and we could see exactly what he was feeling like in that helmet. And that's because he could give us that performance, but we made sure that you could see him properly when he was giving it.
Yeah.
Um, at night is a challenge, especially with a guy wearing a helmet. You know what I mean? To get that light in there. But it's making those like little details are important, otherwise it wouldn't work. And so yeah, so I had to convince Ollie really to do it, because not that he didn't want the part, it was more just that he was like, I don't think I'm the right guy for this part. You know, what have you looked at these guys? And I'm like, yes, but they're the obvious choices. And I'm like, you know, I want it to, well, one, I want it to be something you've not seen you do before, and other people like who don't know about Ollie will be like, who's this guy? You know, he's really brought that character home. So yeah, it was definitely like for me, as soon as I was speaking to him about the part and the role and just chatting to Ollie, like I was like, he'd be really good for this. And I remember a good friend of mine who's actually the music supervisor on the film, I remember sending him the first day of the rushes just images, And he went, "Who the hell's this guy that you got to be the Jackdaw?" He's like, "You've talked about this film for years," and he's like, "This is exactly how I imagined him." And he's like, "You've really, you know," so that was a big reassurance for me as well.
Cool. And I guess my final question, why do you hope that people will take a chance on Jackdaw? Why should they seek it out?
Well, I mean, for me, when I decided to finally pull the plug and go with this story as a debut for me, it was, you know, and I went around the houses with like all different genres of what film I should do. But I just wanted to kind of get back to an era of filmmaking where like there was less pressure on that stuff and ticking the right boxes of what you should make, or like what festivals look at which sort of genres. And I just wanted to make something that was fun, you know what I mean? And not like a stupid action movie, like something with a bit of heart, and you know, has a message in there, but also is just like, if you just want to sit down and enjoy yourself for 90 minutes, like you can. Like it's not hugely challenging on the surface, but if the more you look into it, the more you can find out what the film's really about. And that for me was just like, I just wanted to make a film that I would enjoy watching when I was growing up, and hopefully it will resonate with people in the same way. Films I feel like aren't being made in Britain, I just thought, why not make something that I feel we have to offer to the world.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I wish you best of luck with future screenings and the release.
Thank you, Kat.
Thank you.
Thank you.